You are worn out tonight. You carried today further than anyone saw, and now the house is quiet and your mind is still turning it over. Stay here. You do not have to untangle any of it before you sleep. In a moment, I will read you the words Jesus spoke to tired people, his own invitation to rest, and you will not have to do anything but listen. Your eyes can close now. Let your hands open. Just that. Whatever you gripped all day, let it lie there loosely for a while. Let me pray over you first. Father, come near to the one listening tonight. Lift the weight of this day out of these open hands, still the turning mind. Give the rest that only you can give, the rest no effort of ours can earn. Amen. If someone you love cannot sleep either, leave their name below, and it will be prayed over tonight. Now hear him. From the Gospel of Matthew, chapter 11. Come unto me, all ye that labor and are heavy laden, and I will give you rest. Hear it again, slowly, the way you would hear a voice near your ear at the end of a long day. Come unto me, all ye that labor and are heavy laden, and I will give you rest. Not some of you, not only the ones who have kept everything in order, who have finished what needed finishing, who have answered every voice that called for them today. All ye that labor, all ye that are heavy laden, whatever you carried into this evening, whatever followed you out of the daylight hours and into this quiet room, this invitation was spoken for exactly that weight, and for you tonight, just as you are. Let your shoulders come down. Let your hands loosen in your lap. I will give you rest, not a rest you must earn by trying harder, a rest that is simply given, the way lamplight is given to a room that has gone dark. Come unto me, all ye that labor and are heavy laden. Notice who this word is spoken to. It is not spoken to the strong, as though strength were the price of entry. It is spoken to the tired, to the ones who have nothing left to prove and nothing left to give tonight. That is who is welcome here. Come unto me, all ye that labor and are heavy laden, and I will give you rest. Let that settle over you slowly, the way light settles over a page in a quiet room. You do not have to arrange yourself before you come. You do not have to explain the day you have had. The invitation was already spoken long before tonight, and it was spoken toward exactly the kind of tired you are. Rest, when it is given like this, is not something you climb toward. It is something that comes and finds you, low and near, the way this lamp finds the dark corners of this room without asking them to change first. Take my yoke upon you and learn of me, for I am meek and lowly in heart, and ye shall find rest unto your souls. Let your hands rest open the way this word asks you to rest. Take my yoke upon you. A yoke is a shared weight, carried alongside another, never carried alone. Learn of me, not learn of hardness, not learn of striving, but learn of one who is meek and lowly in heart, gentle all the way through, with nothing sharp hidden underneath the gentleness, and ye shall find rest unto your souls. Not only rest for your body, though your body is tired too. Rest for the soul, the deep, quiet place underneath the day's noise, the place that keeps turning things over long after the lights go out. That place is being spoken to now. Ye shall find rest unto your souls. Let your hands stay open. Let this word reach all the way down to where the tiredness actually lives. Learn of me, for I am meek and lowly in heart, and ye shall find rest unto your souls. There's a doorway that opens onto rest, and it is not guarded by anything fierce. Meek and lowly in heart. Think of a light that never has to raise itself to be seen, a warmth that never has to force its way towards you. That is the kind of presence this word describes, and that is the kind of presence that is meeting you tonight. Ye shall find rest unto your souls. Not rest that must be negotiated for, not rest that waits behind a locked door until you have proven something. The doorway stands open already, warm on the other side of it, and all that is asked of you is to come through, tired as you are, and let the rest that was promised finally reach the soul it was always meant for. For my yoke is easy, and my burden is light. Let those words rest against the heavier ones you have been carrying. My yoke is easy, not because there is nothing to carry, but because it is carried alongside you and carried gently, the way a full harvest is gathered without haste, one steady handful at a time. My burden is light. Whatever weight you brought into tonight, this word does not deny it. It simply sets a lighter yoke beside it, one that was built for tired shoulders rather than strong ones. For my yoke is easy, and my burden is light. Let those words be the last thing your mind turns over before it turns towards sleep. Nothing here demands more effort from you. Nothing here asks you to hold yourself together a little longer. The burden offered here was always meant to be light enough for exactly this hour, exactly this tiredness, exactly you. My yoke is easy, and my burden is light. Sit with that a while longer. So much of what wears a person down is the quiet fear that rest must be earned, that peace is only for the ones who have finished everything, closed every open matter, answered every unanswered thing. This word closes the book on that fear tonight. My burden is light, not heavy with conditions, not weighted down with everything you still meant to do today. Whatever is left undone can stay closed for now, the way this book rests closed under the lamp, its pages quiet, nothing more required of them tonight. The yoke offered here is easy precisely because it was never meant to add to your load. It was meant to carry what you cannot carry alone, gently, without hurry, all the way through this night and into the rest that follows it. And he said unto them, Come ye yourselves apart into a desert place, and rest a while. There is a path that leads away from the noise of the day, toward a quiet place set apart, and this word walks it with you. Come ye yourselves apart, not to be forgotten, not to be set aside, but to be gathered somewhere quieter, away from every voice that has pulled at you since morning, and rest a while. A while is enough. Nothing here asks for forever, only for this stretch of night, this path, this small distance between where you have been all day and the stillness waiting for you at the end of it. Let your steps slow as you picture it. A quiet place set apart from everything, lit softly from somewhere further along. And let yourself be one of the ones this word was spoken to, invited away, if only for a while, into rest. For there were many coming and going, and they had no leisure so much as to eat. This is a word for the crowded kind of day, the kind where one thing follows another without a gap between them, where even the small mercy of a quiet meal gets crowded out by everyone else's need. There were many coming and going. Perhaps your day looked something like that. One voice after another, one task folded into the next. No leisure so much as to eat. No leisure so much as to simply sit still. This word was spoken into exactly that kind of exhaustion, and it did not scold it. It answered it with an invitation to withdraw, to be filled again quietly, the way this small jug holds what is needed, without needing to hold more than that. Whatever came and went today, let it go now. It has no more claim on this hour. Come ye yourselves apart into a desert place and rest a while. Let this word be folded around you now, the way a blanket is folded and set ready before it is ever needed. Apart from the coming and going, apart from the many voices, the many demands, the many small hungers the day never quite got around to answering. Rest a while. Notice again how gentle that word is, how it asks for nothing more than a while. This present stretch of dark and quiet, nothing beyond it. You do not have to solve tomorrow to be allowed this rest tonight. You do not have to have earned it by how well today went. It was already prepared for you, folded and waiting, the same way this blanket has been waiting here in the lamplight, ready to be drawn close the moment you are ready to receive it. Come unto me, all ye that labor and are heavy laden, and I will give you rest. Hear it once more, from a little further away this time, the way a lamp is still warm and still steady, even seen from across a quiet room. This word has not changed since it was first spoken, and it has not changed tonight. All ye that labor and are heavy laden, that is still you, just as you are, without needing to explain the day behind you. And I will give you rest. Not rest you built for yourself. Not rest you argued your way into. Rest that was promised and is being kept tonight, in this room, in this hour. Let the light across that floor be the last thing your mind rests on. Come unto me. The invitation stands, unhurried, exactly where it has always stood, and it is still standing open for you now. Perhaps the harder part is not knowing the invitation exists, but believing it was written for you. Hear this again tonight, plainly, until it settles somewhere under the worry. The door was never guarded against the tired. It was built for them. There is a window that catches the first thread of morning, long before the sky agrees to call it day. A pale seam under the dark, patient and unhurried, the way this promise has always been patient with you. You do not have to arrive rested to be welcomed. You do not have to arrive certain or clean or finished mending what broke in you years ago. All that the Father giveth me shall come to me, he said, and him that cometh to me I will in no wise cast out. Read that twice in the stillness of your own room tonight. Notice what it does not say. It does not say only the deserving come. It does not say, wait until morning proves you steady again. It says coming is the whole of it, and coming is met every time without exception, without a smaller print underneath. The dawn does not audition the window before it enters. It simply comes, the way you may simply come. Think of a garment folded and set aside at the end of a long day, plain wool or worn linen, laid over the back of a bench where it will wait untouched until it is needed again. It does not strive to be noticed. It does not have to earn its place there. It simply rests, kept, because someone chose to keep it. That is nearer to the truth of you than the voice at night that keeps score. He will in no wise cast out is not a promise measured against your effort. It is a promise that has already accounted for every failed effort and answered anyway. All that the Father giveth me shall come to me, and him that cometh to me I will in no wise cast out. Say it slowly. Let the weight fall off the word cometh, because that is the only verb asked of you. Not achieveth, not earneth, cometh. The rest of the sentence was never yours to carry, and it never will be. There is an old stone well at the edge of a quiet yard, its low wall worn smooth by hands that have rested there through generations, none of them remarkable, all of them thirsty in their own season. No one asks the well to prove itself before drawing near it. It is simply there, low and steady, holding what it was always meant to hold. The promise reads the same way. However many nights you have doubted it belonged to you, all that the Father giveth me shall come to me, and him that cometh to me I will in no wise cast out. Not cast out for coming late, not cast out for coming worn thin, or for coming back 100th time with the same tired question. The wall does not tire of being leaned on, neither does this. Let the old objection go quiet in you now. The one that whispers rest must be earned first, proven first, deserved first. It was never true. It was never meant to keep you standing at a careful distance from a well built low enough for anyone to reach on any night, in any state you arrive in. An olive branch does not hold itself up. It rests where it has been laid, leaves catching whatever light finds them. No effort in the catching, no striving toward the warmth. That is the picture worth keeping when the old accusation rises at night, the one that says rest is a wage you have not yet worked enough hours to collect. Take my yoke upon you and learn of me, he said, for I am meek and lowly in heart, and ye shall find rest unto your souls. Notice the order. The yoke comes first, and even the yoke is his to carry beside you, not a weight laid on you to prove yourself worthy of him. You are not asked to arrive already peaceful. You are asked only to come near enough to learn a gentler way of carrying what you already carry. The branch does not strain toward the light. It simply lies still, and the light does the rest, the way grace has always done the rest for tired hands that stopped reaching and let themselves be still. There's a small loaf left on a table for whoever comes in hungry. No note beside it asking what kept them so long. No ledger of who has earned the right to sit down. It is simply there, plain and sufficient. The way rest unto your souls was promised to the meek and lowly heart, long before that heart had done a single thing to merit a place at the table. You do not need a longer record of good nights and steady faith to qualify for what was already set out and waiting. You need only sit down. The hunger itself is the qualification. The tiredness that made you reach for this promise in the dark is not a disqualifying mark against you. It is, quietly, the whole reason the loaf was left within reach in the first place. Nothing here is measured out to the deserving alone. It is simply left, the way welcome is always simply left, waiting through the ordinary evenings when no one thinks to call themselves worthy of anything at all. An empty wooden bowl sitting on a sill is not ashamed of being empty. It was made to be filled, and it waits without complaint for whatever hand will come and pour something into it. Some nights you feel like that bowl, hollowed by worry, scraped thin by a day that took more than it gave back. That emptiness is not evidence against you. It is, if anything, the shape the promise was made to fill. Learn of me, he said, not because you have already learned enough to be worth teaching, but because the learning itself becomes the resting place. You do not have to arrive full to be welcomed near. The bowl on the sill is proof enough of that, plain, unremarkable, waiting in ordinary light for exactly the kind of empty you are tonight, and asking nothing of you first. Beside an old well mouth lies a coiled length of rope, worn soft by years of hands lowering it down and drawing it back up again. Patient work done the same, quiet way, night after night, for whoever needed water. It never asked whether the one drawing water had earned the thirst first. Thirst does not need earning. It is simply the truth of a body or a soul running dry. In the last day, that great day of the feast, Jesus stood and cried, saying, "If any man thirst, let him come unto me and drink." He did not wait for the crowd to quiet itself or sort into who deserved a place near him. He stood in the loudest part of the feast and called out anyway to anyone parched enough to still be listening under all that noise. If that is you tonight, worn thin by a day that gave you nothing steady to hold on to, the rope is already coiled and ready at the wall. No one is checking whether you have earned the drink before you lower it. A lantern hung from a low beam does not choose which traveler it will light the way for. It simply hangs there, burning for whoever passes beneath it after dark. The steady and the merely tired, treated exactly the same. "If any man thirst, let him come unto me and drink," was not spoken only to the composed ones among that crowd. It was cried out loud enough to reach the back rows too, the ones who had wandered in unsure they belonged at a feast at all. That is where the promise was aimed the whole time, low enough and plain enough for the most uncertain heart in the room to hear it and dare to believe it was meant for them. You do not have to prove your thirst is worthy before you come to drink. You only have to be thirsty, worn out, unsure, and let the lantern do what lanterns have always been hung there to do. A wooden gate left standing ajar at the end of a lane is not a careless gate. It was left that way on purpose by someone who wanted anyone still walking after dark to know they need not knock and wait and wonder if they would be let in. He will in no wise cast out was never a small print condition tucked under a larger demand. It was the whole promise, standing open the way the gate stands open, unguarded against the tired, unbothered by how late the hour has grown or how many times you have turned back before. "If any man thirst, let him come unto me and drink," was called out once into a crowded feast and has not stopped echoing since, reaching every quiet room where someone lies awake, believing rest is only for people who have already proven themselves steady enough to deserve it. You have not needed to prove anything. Come as you are, worn and unfinished, and late as you are. The gate was left ajar for exactly this hour, and for exactly you. Picture a house at night, seen from just outside it, every window glowing warm while the dark presses close all around it. Something like that stood between Jesus and the men gathered close to him on his last ordinary evening. A small room lit from within, while everything past its walls was about to change. He already knew what the coming hours would cost him. They did not fully, though fear had already found its way into the room. And what he said to them, there was not spoken like a warning. It was spoken like a window still lit long after it should have gone dark. Let not your heart be troubled. Ye believe in God, believe also in me. Notice where these words begin, not with urgency, not with a message rushed out before a door closes. They begin inside a frightened room, spoken to men who had followed him for years and were only hours from watching nearly everything they understood come undone. He does not scold their fear or hurry past it. He meets it unhurried, the way an old key rests on a table without needing to prove what it opens. Ye believe in God, believe also in me. He is not asking for a harder kind of faith. He is asking them to let the trust they already carry reach a little further, to include him inside it, the way a hand finally closes around a key it has been resting beside all along. Let your own heart hear this the same way tonight. Whatever is troubling it does not need to be solved before it can rest. It only needs somewhere steady to lean. In my Father's house are many mansions. If it were not so, I would have told you. Look at that empty chair drawn close to the hearth, waiting, not forgotten, simply kept. That is something like what he is describing here. A room already accounted for, a seat already set aside, with someone's name resting quietly over it. He is speaking to men who are about to lose the one steady presence that has anchored their days, and instead of leaving that loss unanswered, he tells them plainly that the house they are worried about being shut out of has more room in it than they ever imagined, and that he would not let them believe such a thing if it were not true. If it were not so, I would have told you. There is no softened evasion in that sentence, no comforting exaggeration offered simply to calm a frightened room. It is a plain man speaking a plain truth about a house wide enough to hold every one of them, and you as well. I go to prepare a place for you. Look at those embers banked low in the hearth, still warm, still giving off their quiet heat, even though no flame is visible above them. Going does not always mean going out. He tells this frightened room that his leaving is not abandonment, but preparation, an errand undertaken on their behalf, and not a departure from them. I go to prepare a place for you. Think of how strange that must have sounded to men who only wanted him to stay, who could not yet see any good reason for him to go anywhere at all. And yet he frames the hardest news of the evening as an act of care, something being readied for them even in the going. Whatever in your own life feels like an ending tonight, let this same shape rest over it gently. Some absences are not empty. Some are simply embers, low and unseen, still tending something warm on your behalf. And if I go and prepare a place for you, I will come again and receive you unto myself. See that cloak left over the back of a chair, not discarded, only set down for a while by someone who intends to return and take it up again. That is the promise folded into this sentence. He does not simply say that he will go. He says just as plainly that he will come again, and that when he does, it will be to gather them to himself, not to leave them to find their own way afterward. Say the words slowly and let their shape settle. I will come again and receive you unto myself. To men who could not yet imagine the next 3 days, let alone what waited beyond them, this was not a distant theological promise. It was the one steady thing to hold on to in a night made of losing everything else. Let it be that for you now too, something certain resting quietly nearby while the rest of the night does its work, that where I am, there ye may be also. Look at those sandals set together by the door, not out of use, only waiting for the feet that belong to them, ready the moment they are needed again. That is the quiet ache and the quiet comfort folded into this line. He is not promising them a place instead of his presence. He is promising them his presence itself wherever it finally comes to rest, that where I am, there ye may be also. Not merely a house prepared and left standing empty for them to find on their own, but a togetherness that outlasts the separation now beginning. To a room full of men who loved him, and did not want to be parted from him, even for an evening. This was the heart of the whole promise, more than any description of the house itself. Let it settle the same way over you. Nearness, not just an address. Presence, not just a place. And whither I go ye know, and the way ye know. Look down into that still basin, the surface holding its reflection quiet and unbroken. The way something already shown can be seen again without needing to be shown twice. He tells this troubled room that they already possess what they think they are still waiting to receive. And whither I go ye know, and the way ye know. Not a riddle meant to unsettle them further, but a gentle reminder that everything they needed had already passed in front of them, in the meals shared, in the water poured for tired feet, in every quiet act of love he had already let them watch him do. The way was never hidden from them. It had simply been walked, plainly, in front of their own eyes, long before this night arrived. Whatever answer you feel you are still waiting for tonight may already be resting somewhere inside what you have already been shown. Let the water settle. Look again. Thomas saith unto him, Lord, we know not whither thou goest, and how can we know the way? Look at that scroll rolled closed, nothing written across it yet that any of them can read. That is Thomas's honesty, offered plainly in front of the others, a question that was likely sitting unspoken in every one of them. Lord, we know not whither thou goest, and how can we know the way? There is no scolding in the room for this question, no correction for daring to say aloud that the night felt unclear. Thomas is not rebuked for his uncertainty. He is answered. Let that be permission for you tonight as well, to hold whatever you do not yet understand without needing to pretend the scroll is already unrolled and read. Some things stay closed for a while, resting quietly in the light before they are ready to be opened. That waiting is not a failure of faith. It is simply where this room, and perhaps where you, still are tonight. Jesus saith unto him, I am the way, the truth, and the life. Look at that small flask resting near the lamp. Not a set of directions toward the light, but the very oil that feeds it. That is the shape of this answer to Thomas's honest confusion. He does not draw a map and hand it across the table. He tells them plainly that he himself is what they have been asking after. I am the way, the truth, and the life. Not a way among several, not a truth beside other truths, not a life to be added onto the life they already had. The three words gather into one steady claim, spoken calmly, without strain, into a room that had just admitted it did not know where it was going. Let that same claim rest near you tonight, the way this flask rests near the flame it feeds. Quiet, sufficient, exactly enough for the dark it was made to answer. No man cometh unto the Father, but by me. Look at that single step catching the light at the turn of the stair. One place to set a foot before the next one becomes visible. That is the shape of this last line. Not a wall built to keep anyone out, but a single sure way in, offered by the one speaking it. No man cometh unto the Father, but by me, said to men who were hours from scattering into the dark, who would spend that very night failing him in ways they could not yet imagine. This was not a threat held over them. It was a door left standing open regardless, a way that did not depend on their courage holding steady through what was coming. He knew what the morning would ask of them, and still his voice did not rise. Let not your heart be troubled. He said it once at the start of this hour, and by the time he reaches his end, nothing in him has grown anxious to convince you further. The calm was never a performance for a frightened room. It was simply what was true. Rest in it now, the way this step waits quietly in the lamplight, steady under whatever weight comes to find it, ready for the foot that finally trusts it enough to lean its whole self down. There is a kind of waiting that asks nothing of you. Before you ever reached for it, a place was already being made ready, quietly, the way moonlight finds its way through a curtain without needing to be invited. Rest tonight in this. You did not build the room you are being kept for. There is an old word for what it feels like to be left without anyone, set down alone in a house gone quiet. And it is the very word turned aside here. I will not leave you comfortless, the promise says, and something in you that has braced for abandonment can finally lower its shoulders. Picture a dove that has stopped searching the sky for a branch because it has already found its windowsill, and it simply rests there in the dark, unafraid of the night around it. That is the shape of this promise. It does not say the trouble will lift by morning. It says you will not carry it as an orphan carries a burden, alone in an empty house with no one coming. Whatever loneliness has followed you through these years, whatever nights you have lain awake, certain you were forgotten, this verse was written across those exact hours. Comfortless is the word being taken away from you, gently, the way a hand lifts a stone from a tired arm. You were never meant to hold the ache by yourself. The dove does not know why the sill feels safe. It only knows that it does, and it settles. Let that settling be yours as well, here, now, in this dark and quiet room. And then the promise does not stop at absence removed. It goes further, into arrival. I will come to you, it says, and notice how plainly that is spoken. Not I will send comfort, not I will leave you a memory to hold on to, but I will come. The gate stands open here, leading toward a garden you cannot fully see yet, the path curving away into shadow and soft light both. An open gate is a strange kind of comfort, because nothing has walked through it in this exact moment, and yet it is not closed, and it was not left ajar by accident. Someone opened it on purpose, knowing it would be walked through. That is the promise held in these 5 words. Not a closed door with a message slid beneath it, but a gate standing ready for footsteps that are already on their way. If you have spent your life waiting for people who did not come, let this be different in your hearing tonight. This coming does not depend on your effort to summon it. It was decided before you ever felt the need for it. The gate was already open. The coming was already promised. You only have to notice that it was never shut against you. Yet a little while, and the world seeth me no more. But ye see me. The words continue, and there is something tender in how small that little while is meant to feel, even when it stretches longer than we would choose. Look closely at dew clinging to a single blade of grass. To someone walking past at a distance, there's nothing there at all. No shimmer, no sign, just grass in the dark. But drawn close, the way this promise draws you close, each bead holds its own quiet light, present all along and only unseen because no one paused to look. That is the difference this verse describes between the world and the ones being spoken to here. The world sees nothing, moves on, assumes absence. But you, drawn near, are given eyes for what the world walks past. Ye see me, it says, not because you are stronger or more deserving, but because you have been given sight for a presence others cannot detect. Whatever silence surrounds your prayers, whatever seems to have gone unanswered in plain daylight, know that some things are only visible up close, in stillness, the way dew waits for a face bent low enough to find it. Because I live, ye shall live also. The promise continues, and there is no better picture of that than water that never stops moving forward over stone. A stream does not pool and stagnate the way still water can. It keeps going, drawing from a source further back than you can see, feeding everything downstream simply by continuing to flow. Your life was never meant to run on a supply that runs out. It was joined, quietly and completely, to a life that does not end, and that joining is the whole of what this verse promises. Because I live, it says, plainly, without hedging, and then ye shall live also, folding your life into that same unending current. This is not a promise about someday, far off, after everything hard has passed. It's a promise about the water moving past the stones, right now, tonight, carrying you forward even while you sleep, even while you cannot feel yourself moving at all. Whatever in you feels dry, whatever part of your heart has felt like a stream bed with no water left in it, this verse says the source has not run out. It never will. You are joined to a life that keeps flowing. At that day ye shall know that I am in my Father, and ye in me, and I in you, the promise says. And it is worth slowing down over, because it describes something closer than nearness, closer than companionship, closer even than presence in the same room. Look at a cluster of wildflowers growing so close together that their roots have tangled beneath the soil, their stems leaning into one another, impossible now to separate without disturbing them both. That tangled closeness is a faint picture of what this verse names outright. Not I beside you, but I in you, and you in me, and both of us held inside a love that holds everything else as well. This is not distance narrowed, it is distance ended altogether. At that day, The verse says, meaning a day is coming when this stops being something you must take on faith and becomes something you simply know, the way you know your own breath, the way the flowers know the soil that feeds them without ever having to be told. Whatever has made you feel like a stranger to your own faith, an outsider looking in, let this verse remind you that you were never meant to stand apart. You were meant to be woven in. There's an older word spoken earlier that belongs here again, quietly, like something remembered rather than repeated. And if I go and prepare a place for you, I will come again and receive you unto myself, that where I am, there ye may be also. Think of a basket already woven, already filled, set down and waiting near a doorway before anyone has asked for it. No one wove that basket in your presence. No one asked your opinion on its shape or its size. It was simply made ready in a place you could not see, by hands that already knew exactly what would be needed and when. That is the shape of a prepared place. It does not wait on your worthiness or your effort. It was finished before your asking began. So many of us live as though we must earn the room being kept for us, as though comfort must be built by our own striving before it can be trusted. But the basket was already filled. The place was already prepared. All that remains, as this old promise says again, is the coming to receive you and the ushering of you into what was ready long before you knew to hope for it. He that hath my commandments and keepeth them, he it is that loveth me, the promise says. And then it opens even wider. And he that loveth me shall be loved of my Father, and I will love him, and will manifest myself to him. A shepherd's staff left leaning against a wall tells you something true, even with no one standing near it. It tells you a shepherd has been here, and that the flock this staff was made for has not been left to wander untended. The staff alone is proof of care that continues even when it is out of sight. That is what it means to be loved and then shown, manifest, made visible, not as a single blinding moment, but as a presence that keeps returning, gently, the way a shepherd returns to the fold each evening without being asked. You do not have to search the horizon for proof that you are cared for. The staff by the wall is enough of a sign. Let this be the last thought you carry into sleep tonight, that you are not comfortless, that a place was prepared before you asked, and that the one who loves you keeps returning quietly, the way a shepherd always comes home. Notice how much slower these words move now, slower even than before, as if the evening itself were leaning back into the pillow with you. This next turning does not ask what has been given to you. It asks what you might finally set down. Let your shoulders soften a little further with each breath, because what comes next was written for hands that are ready to open, not hands still gripping something tight. And he said unto his disciples, Therefore I say unto you, take no thought for your life, what ye shall eat, neither for the body, what ye shall put on. Let the words settle over you like the low gold light settling over this open field, warm on every bending stalk. There is a kind of worry that lives only in the body, tight across the chest. And there is a kind of rest that Jesus is describing here, plainly, gently, as though he already knew how heavy the small daily fears can grow by nightfall. The life is more than meat, and the body is more than raiment. Whatever tonight's meal was, whatever tomorrow's clothing worry might be, it is not the whole of you, and it was never meant to carry the weight you have quietly given it. Let that thought loosen something behind your ribs. You are made for more than the feeding and the covering, though both matter, though both are held. Rest here a moment in this wide grass field, where nothing moves quickly, where the wind does the only work being done, and let this first plain sentence be the beginning of a longer letting go tonight. Consider the ravens, for they neither sow nor reap, which neither have storehouse nor barn, and God feedeth them. How much more are ye better than the fowls? Picture this bird exactly as it is, plain, dark-feathered, settled on its branch, without any errand left to run tonight. It did not plant a field this spring. It keeps no granary, no locked door, no store of grain against a hard winter. And yet it is fed day upon day, without having engineered a single one of those days for itself. Jesus is not asking you to stop working or stop caring for the people who depend on you. He is asking you to notice that the raven's peace was never built on its own foreseeing. If a bird with no barn can rest inside that kind of provision, how much more are you, who are spoken of by name before the raven was ever formed, held inside a care wider than your own planning? Let the branch be still. Let the bird be still. Let something in you that has been keeping watch all evening finally believe it is allowed to stop. And which of you with taking thought can add to his stature 1 cubit? This trough has been set here a long while, worn smooth by weather and use, and it does not strain to be anything other than what it already is. That is the quiet question underneath tonight's words. All the turning over of tomorrow's troubles in your mind, all the rehearsing of what might go wrong, has it ever once added a single inch to your height, or a single hour to your life? Not because worry is foolish to feel, it visits every honest heart, but because it was never the tool for the job it keeps trying to do. You cannot think your way into taller, and you cannot think your way into safer. Not really, not lastingly. What you can do is set the thinking down here, the way this trough sits empty and unhurried in the fading light, waiting simply to be filled by hands other than its own. Let your mind rest the way this worn wood rests, without straining, without adding, simply present in the warm dusk air. If ye then be not able to do that thing which is least, why take ye thought for the rest? Look at how easily this little flock has settled onto the rail, wing beside wing, needing nothing more from the evening than this small perch and this fading warmth. If even the smallest thing, adding a single cubit, lies utterly beyond your reach, no matter how hard you strain toward it, then the larger fears you carry, the ones about tomorrow and next month, and all the unwritten days after that, were never yours to solve by worrying either. This is not a scolding. It is closer to the gentleness you would use with a tired child who's been trying too hard to stay awake and watchful. Let the fence rail hold these small birds the way it was built to. Let your own tired watching finally come down off its perch tonight, wing folded, head low, because the rest you have been reaching for by force was always going to be given, not achieved. Consider the lilies, how they grow. They toil not, they spin not. And yet I say unto you, that Solomon in all his glory was not arrayed like one of these. Out across this meadow the flowers lean and sway, with no thread spun by their own effort, no loom, no needle, no late night of careful work behind their color. They simply grew in the ordinary soil, under the ordinary sky, and became more lovely than a king's finest robe ever managed to be through all his wealth and all his tailors. There is something almost startling in that comparison. A king's glory set beside a wildflower and found wanting. It means the loveliest things were never the most striven for. They were the most given. Let that truth move over you the way the evening wind moves over this whole meadow, touching every stem at once, asking nothing, forcing nothing, only tending what was already planted in good and quiet ground. If then God so clothed the grass, which is today in the field, and tomorrow is cast into the oven, how much more will he clothe you, O ye of little faith? These flowers were gathered and set into this basket only for an evening, here today, gone by morning, and still such care was spent on their color and their shape before they were ever cut. If a grass so briefly living receives that kind of quiet attention, think what is being said about you, whose days number so many more than a single field season. The words little faith are not an accusation meant to sting. They are closer to a father naming a fear so his child can finally let go of it. You have been clothed and fed and carried through more evenings than you have counted, and the pattern was never broken yet. Let this basket rest where it has been set down. Let your own gathered worries rest there too, just for tonight, just as they are. And seek not ye what ye shall eat, or what ye shall drink, neither be ye of doubtful mind. Behind this closed door, the grain is already stored, already accounted for, though you cannot see it from where you stand outside in the dark. Only that thin, warm seam of light beneath the frame tells you something good is kept in there. That is what a doubtful mind misses, standing outside its own provision, unable to see past the shut door to what has already been prepared. Jesus is not telling you never to plan a meal or never to think of tomorrow's needs. He is asking you to stop circling the door in the dark, testing it again and again when the light underneath it has never once gone out. let the door stay closed tonight. You do not need to see inside to trust what the light beneath it is quietly telling you. For all these things do the nations of the world seek after, and your Father knoweth that ye have need of these things. Every row in a garden like this one was once a worry to someone. Will there be enough rain? Will there be enough sun? And every nation and every kitchen table across every age has asked some version of that same anxious question about having enough. Jesus does not deny the need. He names it plainly, ye have need of these things. And then he sets it inside a larger sentence, your Father knoweth. The knowing comes first, before the striving, before the seeking after. That is the whole of tonight's turning. You are not asked to stop needing food or shelter or safety. You are invited to notice that the one who planted this quiet row of green already knew what it would need before the first seed went into the ground. But rather seek ye the kingdom of God, and all these things shall be added unto you. Let your eyes rest on this far hillside, the way this whole movement has been asking your mind to rest, not fixed anymore on the near worry, the small trough, the closed door, the counted grain, but lifted out towards something wider and softer at the edge of sight. Seeking the kingdom first does not mean abandoning the meal or the covering or the morning's plans. It means letting them fall into their right and smaller place, added rather than chased, given rather than seized. The hillside does not strain to hold the dusk. It simply receives it, blue deepening into blue, until the whole evening belongs to it without a single effort made. Let that be true of you tonight too. What you have been reaching for was already on its way toward you, and the reaching itself may finally, gently be set down. You may notice tonight that this teaching feels like something you have already been given. It has. The same comfort was spoken twice in Scripture, once along a road to his gathered disciples, and once here upon a hillside in the widest sermon he ever preached, because a heart heavy with worry rarely hears a thing fully the first time it is said. Let it come to you again now, in Matthew's own words, with one new sentence waiting at the end that you have not heard yet, and let it settle a little deeper this second time. Here on this hillside, in the widest sermon he will ever preach, Jesus turns to the same worry that visits you at this hour of the night, the low hum of wondering whether there will be enough. He does not soften the command, he simply repeats it, because some truths only take root the second or third time they are spoken. Take no thought for your life, what ye shall eat, or what ye shall drink, nor yet for your body, what ye shall put on. Is not the life more than meat, and the body than raiment? Let that question rest in you a moment before you move on. He is not asking you to explain your worry away. He is asking you to notice that the life he gave you, this quiet body breathing in the dark, is already worth more than anything it wears or eats. The meal and the garment are small. You, held and named by him, are not. Picture, if you will, a small nest resting empty now in the crook of a branch, its work already done for the season, its makers gone quiet into the dark. Jesus points to birds like these when he says, "Behold the fowls of the air, for they sow not, neither do they reap, nor gather into barns, yet your heavenly Father feedeth them. Are ye not much better than they? No bird has ever planted a field, no bird has ever stored grain against a hard winter, and yet none of them go hungry by his forgetting. If a nest so small, so briefly used, sits inside so wide and careful a provision, consider how much wider that same care must reach around you tonight, who were never meant to be forgotten, who are worth far more to him than any wing that has ever crossed a darkening sky. In a barn somewhere near that hillside, cut hay lies stacked in the dim, warm dark, drying toward whatever use the season will ask of it, asking nothing of itself in the meantime. Jesus asks the crowd a question that still humbles a worried mind. Which of you, by taking thought, can add 1 cubit unto his stature? And why take ye thought for raiment? No amount of turning a worry over in the night has ever added a single measure to anyone's height, or a single hour to anyone's life. Consider the lilies of the field, how they grow. They toil not, neither do they spin. They do not spin thread. They do not weave. They simply grow where they are planted, and somehow that is enough for them to be clothed more finely than any hand could manage. You are not made to spin your own safety either. You are made to grow quietly where you have been set, and to be clothed by a hand far more skilled than your own worry. Somewhere in a chest nearby lies a length of cloth finely embroidered, folded and plain in color, but rich in its working, the kind of robe a king might have chosen for himself. And still Jesus says, "And yet I say unto you, that even Solomon in all his glory was not arrayed like one of these. A king's finest robe, stitched by the best hands his kingdom could hire, and still it falls short of a wildflower that no one wove at all. Wherefore, if God so clothe the grass of the field, which today is, and tomorrow is cast into the oven, shall he not much more clothe you, O ye of little faith? Grass is here one evening, and gone the next, burned for fuel without a second thought, and even it is dressed by God's own hand with more care than Solomon's tailors could manage. You are not grass for the burning. You are a child he intends to keep. If the passing things are clothed so well, what must he already be preparing for you, who are not passing at all? Down the lane stands a storehouse door left slightly open, and inside, warm in the low light, grain enough is stacked to last well past what tonight can see. Jesus knows the fear beneath the fear, the one that asks not just what will happen, but who is responsible for it, and he answers plainly. Therefore take no thought, saying, what shall we eat? Or what shall we drink? Or wherewithal shall we be clothed? For after all these things do the Gentiles seek, he says, meaning those who have no Father to look toward. who must chase their own provision because no one is watching over them. But you are not chasing alone in the dark tonight. For your heavenly Father knoweth that ye have need of all these things. He is not surprised by your need. He named it before you ever spoke it aloud, and the store he keeps for you was never in doubt. Only its timing was ever a mystery to you, and even that is held safely in his hand. An empty woven basket rests on a bed of straw nearby, unfilled for now, waiting without complaint for whatever the morning will set inside it. It is a small picture of the promise Jesus gives next, the hinge on which this whole teaching turns. But seek ye first the kingdom of God and his righteousness, and all these things shall be added unto you. Notice the order he gives, not because the meal and the covering do not matter, but because they were never meant to be carried first. Set the kingdom first. Set his righteousness first. Let the rest follow the way morning follows, a long dark night, quietly, in its own good time. The basket does not fret about being empty. It simply stays where it was placed, ready to receive what is coming. Let your own heart rest the same way tonight, not chasing what it lacks, but seated where it was set, trusting the filling is already on its way towards you. Beyond the pasture, a gate stands open at dusk, and past it the light is already softening into whatever tomorrow will be, still hidden, still unclaimed, not yet needing you to carry it. Jesus closes this part of his teaching with a mercy that sounds, at first, almost like a command to let go. Take therefore no thought for the morrow shall take thought for the things of itself. Sufficient unto the day is the evil thereof. Tomorrow will arrive with its own portion of trouble and its own portion of grace, and both will be exactly sized for the day that carries them, not for tonight's narrower shoulders. You do not have to reach through that gate and drag tomorrow's weight back into this hour. Let it stay where it is, gathering its own light on the other side of the dark, and let this one day be sufficient for you to carry now. A low stone wall circles a sheepfold nearby, worn smooth by generations of hands and weather, built low enough that even a small flock can see over it toward the shepherd who keeps them. It is here in Luke's Gospel that Jesus adds one more sentence to everything he has already said on the hillside, as though the teaching were not complete without it. Fear not, little flock, for it is your Father's good pleasure to give you the kingdom, not his obligation, not his reluctant concession, his good pleasure, freely given, the way a father delights in setting a full table before children he loves, not because they earned it, but because giving it to them is itself the joy. You are that little flock tonight, small and gathered and safe within a wall, built stronger than your worry. The kingdom was never something you needed to win. It was something he has wanted all along to place gently into your open and empty hands. Until now, you have listened to promises spoken across a distance, words carried to you like light across a room. But this next word is different. It does not only speak, it stays. It watches through the hours you cannot watch for yourself, and it never once looks away. Picture a gate closed for the night. Behind it, warmth, stillness. Nothing hurried, nothing afraid. This is the picture Jesus chose for himself. Not a king on a throne, not a judge behind a bench, but a keeper of sheep who stays near enough to smell the night air with them. I am the good shepherd, he said. The good shepherd giveth his life for the sheep. Not a hired hand who counts the hours, not a distant ruler who sends orders down and never comes close. A shepherd, one who has chosen the field over the palace, the flock over the crowd, you over comfort. He did not say the good shepherd manages the sheep, or oversees the sheep, or improves the sheep. He said he gives his life for them. That is the shape of the love you are resting in tonight. It was never partial. It was never a loan he meant to collect. It was laid down, whole, so that what remained standing between you and harm would be him, and only him. There is a second figure in this picture, and Jesus names him too, so you can tell the difference. But he that is an hireling, and not the shepherd, whose own the sheep are not, seeth the wolf coming, and leaveth the sheep, and fleeth, and the wolf catcheth them, and scattereth the sheep. The hireling fleeth, because he is an hireling, and careth not for the sheep. Notice what breaks him. Not weariness, not weather, danger. The moment the field turns frightening, he is gone, because the sheep were never truly his to lose. You may have known people like this, warm when it cost them nothing, absent the moment it cost them something. That is not who keeps you tonight. The one watching over you did not flee the danger meant for you. He walked straight into it and did not run. Whatever your day carried, whatever wolf circled at its edges, the one who stayed was never the hireling. He was and is the shepherd who counts you his own. Look closely at this one, resting quietly in the grass. Nothing threatens it. Nothing needs to. It has simply been known, and knowing is enough to settle it. I am the good shepherd, Jesus said again, and know my sheep, and am known of mine. Not managed, known. There's a difference between a name on a list and a name spoken with affection, and you are given the second kind. He does not need to check a record to remember you. He does not love you as part of a multitude, the way a crowd is loved in general terms. He knows the particular weight you carried today, the fear you did not say out loud, the tiredness under your voice when you finally stopped talking for the night. And you, in turn, are permitted to know him back, not as a distant idea, but as one whose voice becomes familiar the longer you listen. This is not surveillance. This is the oldest kind of belonging there is, a shepherd who knows his own, and sheep who have learned, slowly, to trust the one who knows them. A staff laid across a wall like this has done its work for the day. It has steadied a path, turned a stumbling foot, rested against a shoulder through long hours of watching. And behind it stands a claim almost too large to hold quietly, As the Father knoweth me, even so know I the Father, and I lay down my life for the sheep. He is not borrowing his care for you from somewhere else. It runs the whole way back. Father knowing Son, Son knowing Father. And out of that same deep knowing comes the decision to lay everything down for you. This is not a shepherd improvising kindness because the night is calm. This is a love with roots older than the field itself, older than your need for it, offered freely the moment it was needed. Tonight, as the staff rests, so may you. The steadying has already happened. The laying down was not withheld. Whatever tomorrow asks of you, it will meet a love that was settled long before you were tired enough to need it. Beyond this closed gate, more are still coming home. And other sheep I have, which are not of this fold. Them also I must bring, and they shall hear my voice. And there shall be one fold and one shepherd. Whatever fold you have wondered whether you truly belong to, hear this plainly. He was already looking beyond the fences that seemed to define who was in and who was out. He was already gathering. If you have ever felt like the sheep on the edge, unsure whether the gate was really for you, this verse was written with you in mind. The gathering was never about earning your way into the fold before the gate would open. It was about a voice reaching far enough to call you home. One fold, one shepherd, not many competing calls pulling you in different directions, but a single, steady voice calling every scattered one of them, and you among them, into the same quiet field. A bell like this rings only when it is moved, and tonight it is still, because nothing needs to be announced. The voice that matters most does not need a bell to be heard. My sheep hear my voice, Jesus said, and I know them, and they follow me. Notice the order. Not first they prove themselves worthy, and then they're allowed to hear him. First they hear, then they follow, simply because the voice is recognizable and safe. If your mind has been loud today, replaying old worries in old patterns, let this be the sound that quiets it instead. You do not have to strain to hear him over the noise of your own fear. His voice was never meant to compete on the same level as your anxious thoughts, shouting to be noticed. It is closer than that, plainer than that, the way a familiar voice cuts through a crowded room the instant it speaks your name. You are one who hears. You are one who follows. That is enough for tonight. Here is the whole flock at rest, indistinct in the dark, safe not because the night is safe, but because the keeper is. And I give unto them eternal life, Jesus said, and they shall never perish, neither shall any man pluck them out of my hand. Read that last promise slowly. Not that trouble will never come near you, not that every night will be easy, but that nothing, no hand, no circumstance, no fear that visits you at 3 a.m. can pluck you out of his. His grip was never described as loose enough to lose you by accident. It is a settled, final hold, the kind that does not depend on how well you manage to hold on to him back. So let the shapes around you blur into rest the way these sheep have. Whatever tried to shake your grip on him today, it never once touched his grip on you. That was and is and will remain secure. One lantern is enough to watch over a whole field, because behind it stands a strength greater than the dark it faces. My Father, which gave them me, is greater than all, and no man is able to pluck them out of my Father's hand. There are two hands holding you tonight, not one. A son who lays his life down, and a Father who is greater than every threat that could ever come near you. This is not a fragile arrangement, hoping to hold until morning. It is the greatest hand in existence, closed gently around the smallest, most tired parts of you, the parts you did not show anyone today. You do not need to keep watch over yourself tonight. The lantern is already lit. The gate is already closed. The one who could pluck you from that hand does not exist, has never existed, and never will. Let go of the watching. It was never yours to do alone. Abiding asks nothing of you tonight, but to remain. Rest here a while longer, in the quiet of a vineyard at evening, where the vine has already done all the work of becoming. I am the true vine, Jesus said, and my Father is the husbandman. You do not have to strain to understand every word of that tonight. You only have to let it settle, slow as dusk settling over a stone wall. Every branch in me that beareth not fruit he taketh away, and every branch that beareth fruit he purgeth it, that it may bring forth more fruit. There's no anger in that pruning, only care, the unhurried attention of someone who has tended this ground a long time and knows exactly what each branch needs to grow heavy and sweet. You are not being watched for failure tonight. You are being tended. Let that be the last thought before the next one arrives, soft as lamplight through leaves, telling you that the hand at work in your life has always moved toward fruit, never away from you. Now ye are clean through the word which I have spoken unto you. Hear that as it was meant, not as a verdict, but as a washing, the way rain leaves a leaf brighter without the leaf doing anything at all. The knife on the ledge has already done its quiet work for the season. What is cut away is cut away. What remains is what was meant to remain. Abide in me, and I in you, he said next. And there is the whole of it, the word this movement turns on. Not strive in me, not perform in me, not earn your place in me. Abide, as the branch cannot bear fruit of itself, except it abide in the vine. No more can ye, except ye abide in me. You are never asked to manufacture your own life. You are asked only to stay close to the source of it, the way a branch stays where it was grown, without effort, without argument, simply attached, simply held, simply there. I am the vine, ye are the branches. Let the picture settle slowly, the way a graft settles into old wood until you can no longer tell where one life ends and the other begins. The twine holding the young shoot in place will not be needed forever. In time, the two grow together and become one growing thing, and that is the picture Jesus is giving you of your own life bound to his. He that abideth in me, and I in him, the same bringeth forth much fruit. For without me ye can do nothing. That last phrase can sound heavy if you carry it wrong, but carry it instead the way the graft carries it, as relief rather than burden. You were never meant to bear fruit by your own strength, straining alone in the dark towards some harvest you had to produce by will. You were meant to be bound to the vine, quietly, patiently, and let the fruit come the way it always comes, in its own unhurried season, out of a life fully attached and fully at rest. If a man abide not in me, he is cast forth as a branch and is withered. Look at this gently, the way you would look at any true thing said plainly, without needing to flinch from it. A branch cut off does not wither because it is punished. It withers because it has lost the one connection that was ever going to keep it green. There's no cruelty in that, only cause and effect, the same as a leaf lifted off its stem in autumn. This is not a warning meant to frighten you tonight, only a plain picture of what abiding protects you from, the slow drying out that comes from trying to live disconnected from the source of your own life. You are not that withered branch on the ground. You are the one still attached, still held, still fed by the same sap that has kept this vine alive through every season it has known. Let that be settled quietly in you before the next thought comes, and let it come slowly, the way night settles over a vineyard row. If ye abide in me, and my words abide in you, ye shall ask what ye will, and it shall be done unto you. Picture the empty basket set down beside the road, waiting without worry for what the season will bring, because the vine it waits beside has never yet failed to bear. That is the kind of asking this verse describes. Not a demand shouted into the dark, but a quiet request made from inside a settled, abiding life, the way a basket simply waits where the fruit will fall. When His words abide in you, the way you abide in Him, your asking changes shape. It stops being the anxious reaching of someone unsure the harvest will come, and becomes instead the calm request of someone who already lives inside the relationship the harvest grows from. You do not have to fill the basket yourself tonight. You only have to stay near the vine and let your asking rest the same unhurried way the empty basket rests, ready, unafraid, certain of whose vineyard this is. Herein is my Father glorified, that ye bear much fruit, so shall ye be my disciples. Look at the basket now, brimming, resting in the last warm light of the day, carried nowhere because it does not need to go anywhere to matter. The fruit itself is the glory, quiet and plain, exactly where it grew. As the Father hath loved me, so have I loved you, Jesus said next. Continue ye in my love. Continue is a gentler word than achieve. It asks you only to stay inside a love that was already given, the way this basket stays where it was set down, full, unhurried, needing nothing more from you tonight than to remain. You do not have to carry this love anywhere to prove it is real. You only have to continue in it, the way evening light continues to fall gently over a vineyard row. long after the work of the day is finished, asking nothing, simply resting there. If ye keep my commandments, ye shall abide in my love, even as I have kept my Father's commandments, and abide in his love. The press stands quiet tonight, its work finished for the season, and there is something in that stillness worth resting in. Keeping his commandments was never meant to feel like labor at a press that never stops turning. It was meant to feel like this, an evening trough standing empty and at peace, because the harvest that mattered has already been gathered in. Jesus kept his Father's commandments not by straining against them, but by abiding inside a love that made keeping them natural, the way rest comes naturally to a vineyard after the grapes are in. You are invited into that same quiet tonight, not to prove your love by exhausting yourself at some endless press, but to let your obedience be as unhurried and as settled as this trough standing still under the first stars, its work already done, its rest already earned. These things have I spoken unto you, that my joy might remain in you, and that your joy might be full. The scroll lies open beside the vine row exactly where it was left, as if someone paused there to listen rather than hurry on to the next page. That is what this whole movement has been, a pause beside the vine, long enough to hear what he actually wanted you to carry away from it. Not effort, not fear of the pruning knife, not anxious reaching from an empty basket. Only this joy, his joy, given so that yours might be full and not partial, full the way a basket is full the way evening light lies full across a quiet vineyard when the day's work is finally done. Let the scroll stay open beside you tonight. Let the vine hold you the way it has always held every branch that simply stayed. You do not have to go anywhere from here. You only have to abide and let his joy be enough. The trouble was never denied here, only outlasted, the way a small flame outlasts the whole long night of wind against the glass. Rest now behind a door that is already closed against the night. You do not have to keep watch at it. Long ago, before the trouble you carry ever had a name, a voice spoke words meant to reach you here, in this exact hour, on this exact pillow. These things I have spoken unto you, that in me ye might have peace. Not peace that waits for the world to go quiet first, not peace that depends on the door holding, though it will hold. A peace planted inside you before the knock ever came, so that whatever presses against the wood tonight, it presses against something already settled within. In the world ye shall have tribulation. He does not pretend otherwise. He does not ask you to smile as though nothing pushes at the door. He simply tells you the truth first, gently, the way someone tells you the weather before you step outside, so you are never caught unprepared, never made to feel foolish for having felt the storm at all. And then, in the very same breath, comes the turn that changes everything. But be of good cheer. I have overcome the world, not will overcome, has already overcome, finished, done, settled before your worry ever woke tonight. Picture whatever has held you fast, whatever cord of dread has kept you tied through the evening hours, lying loose now on quiet ground, its work already ended, its grip already broken by a hand stronger than the one that tied it. You are not being asked to win this. You are only being asked to rest inside a victory that is not yours to earn. Be of good cheer does not mean pretend the ache is gone. It means lift your face, even in the dark, because the outcome was decided before the trouble began, and the one who tells you so has never once needed to raise his voice to make it true. There's a second word for the ache that does not vanish the moment you believe. And ye now therefore have sorrow. He names it plainly, without flinching. The way an anchor does not pretend the water beneath it is calm, only that it will hold regardless of what the water does. Whatever sorrow rides low in your chest tonight, whatever grief has not finished its slow work in you, it is not evidence that anything has gone wrong in your faith. It is only evidence that you are still here, still feeling, still tethered to someone or something you loved enough to miss. The anchor does not deny the current. It simply refuses to be carried off by it. Let your sorrow sit tonight, the way the coiled rope sits on its post, present, real, and yet no longer dragging you anywhere you do not choose to go. But sorrow was never meant to be the last word spoken over you. But I will see you again, and your heart shall rejoice. Not might rejoice, not could rejoice if circumstances allow. Shall, a promise as certain as morning finding its way through a window, folding itself gently over whatever was left waiting through the dark. Whatever has been folded away in you tonight, set aside because it was too heavy to hold open, will be unfolded again in joy, in His own time, in His own good and unhurried way. And your joy no man taketh from you. No circumstance can reach in and take back what He gives. No loss, no disappointment, no long season of waiting can undo a joy that was never dependent on the world holding still. Let that be the last thought you fold into tonight. Quiet as moonlight settling on cloth that has already been put away in peace. Notice how the candle does not need the night to change in order to be seen. It simply burns, and the glass, dark as it is, gives it back twice over. Your joy can be like this. It does not require the world outside your window to grow bright before it is allowed to exist. It burns quietly against whatever darkness surrounds it tonight, and the darkness, rather than swallowing it, only shows it more clearly. Your joy no man taketh from you means the flame is yours to keep, sheltered from every wind that tried to reach it earlier in the day. Let it sit steady in you now, small if it must be small, but entirely undisturbed. The one thing in the room that the night has no power over, held safe behind glass that only ever reflects it back. And beneath every promise so far is the one that makes all the others possible. Lo, I am with you always, even unto the end of the world. Amen. bright hours only, not for the seasons when peace comes easily and sorrow keeps its distance. Always, through this hallway and the one after it, and every dark passage your life still has left to walk, the lantern does not go out simply because the corridor is long. It is carried patiently past every closed door, and each wall it passes is warmed a little by its going. You are being carried tonight in exactly this way, not left to find your own way through by feel, but accompanied the entire distance, even unto the end, with a light that was never once at risk of running out. So let tonight be one more safe crossing over that old, worn stone. Peace was given to you before the trouble came. The world was already overcome before you ever felt its weight tonight. Sorrow was named honestly, and joy was promised just as honestly. A joy no one can reach in and take from you while you sleep. And under all of it, quiet as a threshold that has held steady through every foot that has ever crossed it, stands the promise that does not expire with the day. Lo, I am with you always, even unto the end of the world. Amen. Cross over now. Let the door behind you stay bolted. Let the rope stay broken on the ground. Let the lantern keep its steady flame in the hallway ahead. You are not walking alone into the dark. You never were. Only this now. Peace. Rest now. There's a door in front of you, closed, and under it a warm line of light, steady, not flickering, not going anywhere. Nothing is asking to be opened tonight. Nothing is asking for anything at all. Behind that door, someone once sat with tired friends and spoke words meant to outlast that room, meant to outlast every room after it, meant for you, here, now. Peace I leave with you. My peace I give unto you. Let the sentence be that simple. Not a peace you built, not a peace you earned by getting everything right today or any day. A peace that was left for you. The way a lamp is left burning for someone who is coming home late. It is already there. It was there before you were tired. It will be there after you sleep. You do not have to reach for it or arrange yourself to deserve it. It is only left the way light is only left under a door, quietly, faithfully, all night long, asking nothing, giving everything. Peace, left for you. Peace, simply left. Let your hands rest now, folded, still, the way hands rest on a windowsill when the day is finally done and there is nowhere left to be. Not as the world giveth, give I unto you. Say that over slowly. The world's peace comes and goes with circumstance, with news, with whether tomorrow looks kind. It has to be managed, watched, protected. This peace is not like that. This peace was given once, completely, and it does not run low the way the world's peace runs low. It does not need refilling by good news or a quiet house or a clear mind. It was given before any of those things were true, and it stays given when they are not true. Your hands can be still because they are not holding this peace up. It is not balanced on your fingers. It was placed in you, past your hands, past your worry, in a room quieter than this one, a room where someone who loved you, tired disciples, said this and meant it for the ones not yet born, meant it for tonight, meant it for you resting here, hands folded, asking nothing more of yourself than to receive what was already given. If you could see it written, it would look like this: faded ink in a margin, one word, kept there a very long time, waiting patiently to be found again tonight by you. Peace. Let not your heart be troubled, neither let it be afraid. Read it slowly, the way old ink is read, without hurry, not troubled, not afraid. Both released in the same breath, the same soft instruction, spoken once and never withdrawn. Whatever your heart has carried today, whatever small fear rode in with the evening, it was named here first, long ago, and already answered. Let not a command to try harder, a permission to stop, to let the trouble go the way a hand opens and let something fall that it never needed to hold. Peace. The word does not change from page to page, night to night. It waits in the margin the same, ready the same, for whoever turns to it. You have turned to it. That is enough. Peace. Let not your heart be troubled. Let it rest instead, here, now, in the fading, faithful ink of this one old promise. There is water here so still, it holds the light without a single ripple, one warm point burning steady on its dark surface, undisturbed. That is the kind of evening this was. Then the same day at evening, being the first day of the week, when the doors were shut where the disciples were assembled for fear of the Jews, came Jesus and stood in the midst, and saith unto them, Peace be unto you. Door shut, fear inside, and into that shut, fearful room, peace simply arrived, unannounced, unasked for, and stood in the midst of it. Not at the edge, in the midst. Wherever your fear has shut the door tonight, that is where this peace comes to stand. It does not wait for the door to be opened first. It does not require you to feel ready. It stands in the middle of exactly where you are, the way this light stands unmoved in the middle of this still water. And it says the same two words it said then. Peace be unto you. Let the water hold that light. Let the room hold that peace. Nothing here needs to move again tonight. The lamp is turned down low now, almost to embers. Just enough warmth left to see the bed by. Linen turned back, waiting, unhurried. Then said Jesus to them again, Peace be unto you. Again, he said it once, and then, because they needed to hear it more than once, he said it again. That is how peace was given, not as a single word tossed into a room and left to fade, but spoken, and then spoken, again, low and near, the way you might repeat a comfort to someone drifting towards sleep. Peace be unto you. And again, peace be unto you. You do not need a new thought now. You do not need anything new at all. Only this old repeated word offered again for you tonight the way it was offered again that evening. Low light, low voice. Nothing left to do but receive it and lie back into the turned linen and let the lamp burn down the rest of the way on its own, unwatched, while peace, spoken and spoken again, settles over the room like the last warmth of embers settling into quiet. The window is open and the curtain does not move at all. No breeze tonight, nothing stirring, only stillness held. Peace I leave with you, my peace I give unto you, not as the world giveth. Peace be unto you, spoken once in a shut room. Peace be unto you, spoken again, low and near. 3 times given, one gift. Let it be the last thing your heart holds. Not a new idea, not a new promise, only the same one, settling deeper now, the way still air settles deeper into a still room. Peace, left for you. Peace, standing in the midst of you. Peace, spoken again for you. Here, at the very edge of sleep, where nothing more needs to be understood, only received. The curtain does not move. The night outside is calm, and somewhere past the shut doors and the folded hands and the low-turned lamp, that peace, not as the world gives, is still being spoken quietly, again and again, over you, until there is nothing left tonight but peace. Come unto me, he said, at the very start of tonight, all ye that labor and are heavy laden, and I will give you rest. You have been given that rest now, word by word, movement by movement, the way this lamp has been given enough oil to burn the whole night through without asking anything of you to keep it lit. Whatever you carried into this hour, the tiredness, the worry, the sorrow that would not quite name itself, it has been set down, not by your effort, by his invitation, spoken once and never withdrawn. And if these words have kept you company tonight, Sola Scriptures also waits for you quietly on Spotify. One more place his voice can find you when the room goes dark. Let this be the last verse, the one to carry you all the way under. Peace I leave with you, my peace I give unto you. Not as the world giveth, give I unto you. Let not your heart be troubled, neither let it be afraid. Sleep now, you are held. Amen.